welcome back.
Thank you for having me again. I'm so
Councilman
happy to be
Toles.
here.
Now, we talked off camera about this safety thing, and
Yes,
I said, wow. When you told me about that, I said, we really need that. Everybody needs that.
everybody does need that.
Well,
Can I just add one
how
more
did you get
plug?
into that, and
Um,
how did you get it so that you convinced the council board,
okay.
and you know that that's what you have to do. If you have a bill, it's
Mhm.
not just here's a bill,
Yeah.
and and then
Right.
walk right through it.
Exactly.
Tell us about
Exactly.
it.
Sure, sure. Before we get off the apprentice, can I bring up the PLA bill? Can I do
Yes.
that? I want to just briefly talk about that project labor agreement bill.
Great.
Whereas the TIF was public dollars, this is contracts that go through the county should enter into a project labor agreement, and that's just saying that any contract over $1 million, you again will go you will enter to agreement with the trades to, and that ensures that they offer standards. They have standards for health care.
Mm.
They have standards for certain
Right. The
wages and
amenities.
benefits and amenities
Right.
so people can live.
Right.
And I just want to say this, why that's extremely important. As we struggle with health care, not just in the county, not just in the state, but in America, the construction trades are the #1 industry to have more injuries, therefore
Right.
more
Physical.
likely
Yeah.
physically to go to the
Right.
doctors, and they are less likely to be insured because they're going from construction job to construction job to construction job with no benefits. And it's time that we as a county set standards to say that we are going to offer strong benefits. We're going to make sure our residents are work, and we're going to make sure that they are safe while they are at work. And what project labor agreement does is it sets standards and benefits and wages so that we can ensure that our workers working on these construction jobs are properly covered. And also it gives them an opportunity for a career again. They
Yes.
are taking their trade and putting it on a career, because as we have economic development in the county, we are putting more of our residents to work, along with ensuring that they are safe. And I just want to briefly say that a lot of companies say they have a problem with it. Big construction companies,
Yeah. Well, they
well,
don't want to pay
it's
the
not. They
money.
don't want to pay the money.
Right.
Stop being greedy and
Right.
let's put our
Share some of that
residents
money.
share some of the money. We need to close this
The
this
profit
gap. This
line.
gap. Yes,
Yeah.
they need to be able to feed their families. They need to be able to work, and that is what I hope this bill can do for the residents of Prince George's County. Give them more of an opportunity to learn a trade, to learn a career, and if they have a trade, which many of them do, but not working, to put them back to work. This will close the gap. Allow them to work again, to hopefully save their homes, have more wealth, have more income coming into their homes, and that's what our whole project labor agreement does. Give us an opportunity to work.
Basically, what you're doing, you're giving them security.
There you go. Thank you.
You
Thank
have
you.
to have security. I don't care what job, you want
Absolutely.
some type of security.
There you go.
You don't want
Thank you.
a position or job where, if you don't make it today, you know what I mean, or you can't go to the hospital because you don't have a plan.
Yes.
Those are things that are so very important.
They are so extremely important, and I could come back and talk more about more about PLAs, but that's essential, and we will be the first in the state to do this. Everybody dance around the issue, but it's time that we as leaders in Prince George's County set the tone and say we're not going to be afraid of providing benefits for our workers. We're not going to be afraid of giving them security, so that they know that they can feed their families, that that trade they have can be their career, what they intended it to be, not to jump from place to place, to job. And so project labor agreements set standards and offer more security for our residents.
Well, what about getting them, educating them to the value of a union? Because that's security too.
Right.
If in fact, on the job, especially construction, and there's other groups that have moved into that, from the immigrants that moved into that they don't care about the future. They're just dealing with, I have to, all I want to do is work. If they don't, that's the competition that they have. They said, well, but you want them to be educate the youngsters to the point that the unions will have to, and the contractors
Yes.
will have to provide these things, these safety measures, this security.
Yes.
In which your group and this bill will give them, because it'll be mandated by the county council.
I mean, you're fantastic. You hit the nail right on the head. That's what we need, mandates for to ensure that they have the security that they need. And not only that, any non-union can apply for these if you follow these standards that we now set in place by the county council. We don't have a problem with awarding the contracts, but you must have these standards.
Even non-union.
Exactly. Correct. So
That's beautiful.
And that's why it's important for the county to mandate it. People say they're going to do it, but it's been hundreds of years, and you know, how many?
You can't find it. Very difficult to find one.
You
I'll
can't
tell you
find
that.
one. Yes. So,
you know, if you're non-union, you at the bottom of the barrel, and you don't have any benefits. I mean, if we
have some, but it's very it's slim.
It's minimal.
It's a minimal. How can you survive? You know.
Right. That's it.
And so with
that, and then it doesn't have any backbone. Yes. By you putting legislation in, then that's something that they have to qualify themselves.
Yes.
The company or the union has to qualify.
Yes.
See, that's part of qualifying for the contract.
Yes. That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct.
And having a program where they have the youngsters come in, they may not be on board, but have a training program too.
Absolutely.
See, the different companies, they can bring youngsters into a training after they finish the technical aspects of it. Bring them in and expose them to have exposing time, so they can see this is what this is all about. This is going to be the results of me being involved with this particular project.
Absolutely, and I agree. And as we talk about public safety, we need to put people to work. If they're not working, I believe increases the need for crime, because folks, if you're not working, particularly if you're really, really young, what are you doing during the day? Or even besides that, we need to give people an opportunity to work more, because if they can't feed their family, then what else is going to happen? But with this bill, CB 18 2011, which I'm extremely excited about, it was my very first bill I passed on the council. It just passed, and we just implemented it 3 weeks after the passage. And one thing about this bill, it's called dance hall legislation, and it was an emergency piece of legislation. So I don't know if you want me to tell you how it came about. If you remember, at the very beginning of the year, we had a number of homicides, many homicides. We had one homicide that was linked to a dance hall establishment, and it from that day, we just had a number of homicides. They were isolated, but they were just a nuisance to the people of Prince County. It made them feel as if they were not safe. And as I began to have conversations with our police department, they talked about what they needed, and I was so happy to oblige. I said, I'll put this forth. What they wanted was legislation to be able to go in, like Washington, D.C. has. They have legislation on the books in D.C. to shut down establishments that pose a harm to the safety, health, and welfare of our citizens of Prince County. So I was the proposer of CB 18, and what that does is it gives the police more authority to shut down establishments that
are nuisance to the neighborhood.
Perpetuate criminal activity. You could be a nuisance. We have one establishment that's right next door to a senior home, and I understand
senior
citizens home in Suitland, and I understand they have the door open, loud music playing. While it may not be a crime, it's a nuisance.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Nuisance.
A serious nuisance. But we've also had homicides. We've had 61 homicides linked to nightclub establishments, dance halls since 2005, and the hands were tied. The police hands were tied. It was left up to Department of Environmental Resources to have to look into the use of occupancy permit. That can take time. The citizens can't wait.
Well,
People's lives can't wait.
yeah.
So,
What about? I mean, right now there's no answer, but zoning it so those type of establishments could be
well, yeah, you
in
can.
in a zone, for instance, with a retirement home
Yeah.
and a dance hall. You know,
Right.
the retirement home. Okay, they may say that's a business, but you know, a dance hall, that is strictly a business, and it attracts certain people. And see,
Yes.
you got an age bracket there gap between the people that uh, actually use the dance hall
Right.
and the senior citizen,
Well,
and just the environment,
just the
is
environment.
them
Yeah.
coming out, you know, going to the car or whatever, just
Right.
the environment.
When most people
It's
like
not good.
myself are home at by 10 o'clock at
Yeah,
night, so these
right,
things happen at 11 and midnight. But
right,
zoning, right, is one way. But what do we do now that they're already there? And
yeah,
so you
that's
see,
it.
what do we do
What,
now? We can't
right,
wait for zoning. We got to
mm,
be able to shut them down immediately.
mm,
And this was a partnership with the Prince George's County Police Department. This was a partnership with our state's attorney office, and I want to commend Police Chief McGaw for his efforts. First of all, our county executive, Asharon Baker, who is doing a fantastic job leading us in the county. Also, State's Attorney Angela Alsobrooks. We were all partners in this effort. As you know, the police department is under the county executive, and we were all working together with the state's attorney's office to ensure that we can have good legislation because we want to be able to give them the authorities to shut them down, but we
right.
also need our judicial system to know what they can defend, what they can't defend. And this is a fantastic piece of legislation that we know we can win in Prince George's County. And it sets standards. I want to briefly tell you that you have to have a security plan in place. And let me back up and say I want to thank our council chair. How can I ever forget our council chair? She's doing a fantastic job leading me and my colleagues on Prince George's County Council. But this sets a security mechanism in place. It says that you have to have standards in place as it relates to keeping our community safe.
Okay,
And so,
now that's fantastic,
yeah.
and once again, I'm so proud of you.
Thank
You
you.
did in 8 months. You got all those awards, and I was going to ask you, what do you propose to do in the future? But you got enough on your plate now. If you
Stay tuned.
right,
Re-election. Vote me again. Vote for me again in 4 years.
But the idea is that you're off and running, and so in 8 months you've been involved with the community. You know the problems that's going on and the needs. And once again, we want to thank you and congratulate you on your council win. And that anytime you have something to tell the people about, just come to Ed Brown.
I sure will. Thank you for having me.
What we're going to do, we're going to have maybe a report every 6 months, every 3 months, whatever's happening from Councilman Karen.
I come
Toles,
here to give you the report. I would love to.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot for being here. And this has been Ed Brown. See you next time.